the Catalan Dragons 6. Big problems, you feel, for Steve McNamara at this time. They're a shadow of the team that started this season. It seems to have come a little bit unstuck since the Challenge Cup quarter-final defeat to the Huddersfield Giants. They've won just one game in the last four, convincing as that was against Hull KR, 36 points to 6. But in the other three, they've conceded 96 points, 30 points and over in each of those games, and only scored 16 on the road. Travel sickness seems to be hitting the Catalan Dragons. They'll be relieved to be at home next week. But yeah, there's no doubt at the moment, Catalan, everybody was surprised to see where they were early form of the season. But yeah, all of a sudden, not quite as slick as they have been. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Really interesting to see how they bounce back from this. A lot of question marks now over Steve McNamara's men. I mean, massive call, huge call at the start of this game. Julien Busquet not sent for 10 by Jack Smith. I was surprised at that. Absolutely a deliberate trip. He will be in trouble with the match review panel, you feel, this week. And wouldn't you just know it, it was Busquet himself that goes over for the first try, and he took it brilliantly well. Da Costa fizzed the ball, absolutely fizzed it at Busquet. He had to grab it from behind, over it goes. We're going to be very disappointed with their defensive effort. And I have to say, for that first 30 minutes, Catalan were in control of the game. Jordan Abdul in the first half, his kicking game was on point. He was making stupid meters of penalty kicks. He just was controlling things. Wigan didn't seem themselves. They were under pressure. They were putting the ball down far too many times, not completing the sets. It was a bad first half for the Wigan Warriors, but then on comes Cruz Leeming, and the whole dynamic of the Wigan attack changed. He was coming out of dummy half a lot quicker. He was actually going up against the defensive line, pulling them out of position, letting the ball go. And of course, back they come with a brilliant, brilliant try from Luke Thompson. Delighted for him. First try of the season in Super League for Luke, for the Wigan Warriors. He has been in brilliant, brilliant form, averaging over 97 metres a game. He has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, fully deserving of that try. And of course, Wigan could have gone in 14 points to 8 up had the Patrick Mago try have been given. Personally, I do think he bobbled it. If you looked at it, not from the one that they kept looking at, the other angle, he did ground the ball short the line in the first instance, and then he seemed to lose control of it. Hence, for me, the right decision that one was chalked off. But Mago, on the topic of Mago, he came on, and my Lord, did he punch some holes. He really did. Off contract at the end of the season at the Wigan Warriors. You do feel that the Warriors need to keep Patrick Mago. If he is to leave, there will be many, many suitors for the big man. He was very, very good indeed. At half-time in the concourse, I was with the newest Super League Raw member, Peter Mason. Good morning to you, Peter, if you're up this morning. Yeah, and I said to him in the concourse, I felt Wigan would run away with the second half. Why? Well, Garcia out HIA. He wasn't going to come back in the second half, but it was the lack of depth on the bench. They had Satay on there, Sivanen on there. They had Cesar Rouge was on there as well, and Seguer. And of course, Seguer would go off in the second half as well. You compare that to Dupree, Mago, Havard, who I have to say on his return really put in some solid minutes. Good to see even Havard on the field of play. 27 tackles in deep for Ethan, 10 carries for 66 metres. He'll be pleased with that. He really needed that. He did. And as I already said, I thought Cruz Leeming was very good indeed. And I thought because of that lack of interchange, because of the lack of depth, I just felt that Wigan would cut loose in the second half. They couldn't be as poor in the second half as they were in the first half. And it didn't take long, did it? It just didn't take long. I mean, you know, it was kick-started literally by Harry Smith. Where was Arthur Morg? I mean, dear me, he was sightseeing. He was sightseeing in Wigan last night. Goes up into the defensive line. Harry Smith spots it. He says, here, I'll give you a Steve-O chip over the top. I'll catch it and finish my own try. Beautiful stuff from Harry Smith, I have to say. Very, very nice. And then, of course, we saw some wonderful, wonderful tries, didn't we? The pass out from Field. Field had a great night for Wigan. Great pass out, looping, one of those looping balls. You thought he was going to go to Miske. Kieran said, none of it. I'm having a try against my former team. That was a really good try. But for me, the foul try, very, very similar in its architecture to the one we saw at the LSB last week in terms of Kai O'Donnell. It was virtually a carbon copy of that try. Liam Favell going in for a score. The game at that point is all over, and of course it would Miske would get a try very late in the day for the Warriors. Like I say, Warriors weren't vintage, especially in that first period. But yeah, Steve McNamara, dearie me, like I say, not good at all. There's loads of questions there now over the Catalan Dragons. Is the fact that there's going to be so much movement? I mean, we're expecting big announcements coming out of Catalan, aren't we? We know Tom Davis is probably going to go to Hull KR Johnston and Matt Meakin off to Wakefield at the end of the season. So there's a lot of players at the moment at the Catalan Dragons, and I'm probably not finished there, that are not going to be there next year. Is that affecting things? I don't know. Very, very poor, really, from Catalan over the last 4 weeks. They need to get better. They need to get stronger. As for Wigan champion team, doing what they need to do. They'll be delighted to have got a 30 points to 8 win over the Catalan Dragons, of course, going back towards the summit. Not quite there at the moment, but again, staying in and around it. You can't count out Wigan. The roster now, incredible. Walters, of course, in the 21-man squad going into this. He'll play reserve grade this week. He's due to come back. I mean, they have really got a bags of riches, haven't they? The Wigan Warriors. They're the real deal. They are going to take some stopping in 2024. Right, who are we giving the 3-2-1 to? Well, the 3 points I'm going to give to Junior Nsemba. That might surprise people, but actually in the stadium, I have to say he played some solid rugby league last night on both sides of the ball. He did 31 tackles in defence. He had 12 carries for 90 metres, 5 tackle balls. Some of his work off the ball as well as on it, it was really, really strong from Junior Nsemba last night. I was very, very impressed with him, seeing him, up close in person. Outstanding player. There's no doubt for me, the kid has got a massive future England international without question, and more than likely at some point probably going to find himself in the NRL. The 2 points go to Harry Smith. Harry, brilliant game once again last night. 5 from 5 with a boot. That'll please him, of course. The first try, only try, the kick over the top, absolutely magnificent. He had his hand in those Kieran tries. He had his hands in, quite a lot of the good stuff that was going on throughout the night. So I thought, yeah, do you know what, Harry Smith, fair play to you. Not quite the man of the match for me. I would give that in Nsemba, having seen him live in the stadium, but certainly 2 points go to Harry Smith. And the 1 point goes to Jai Field. Field again, another player that had his hands all over that game last night. Really solid in the back, did a really good, solid job in terms of some of the high kicks that came his way. I thought on both sides of the edges, his work on both edges. We saw the pass out to Kieran. He was involved in the foul try. Really good. And of course, he was involved in the Miskey one because it's him who chased the kick through and of course was grounded. But then, of course, from the next play, the ball in goes Miskey. So I think Jai Field certainly deserves the 1 point. There you go. 3 for Nsemba, 2 for Harry Smith, 1 for Jai Field. Do you agree with that, Wigan Warriors fans? You must be delighted last night. I have to say, though, and I will say this in dispatches, I thought the atmosphere was really poor. I will say that straight away. It's too big, that stadium. Far too big. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're trying to generate an atmosphere, but it's just too big a stadium. I think the likes of the Saints Stadium, Warrington Stadium. We know that Headingley is a cauldron anyway, and that always generates a good atmosphere. But yeah, for me, that stadium, it's just too big. Beautiful stadium. I thought the first time I'd experienced the fan zone. I thought the fan zone at Wigan. If you go down to Wigan away, make sure you get into the fan zone. Really, really good. Indeed, it was great as well to meet Lee Partington and his child before the game. Another Super League Royal member. Lee, hello and good morning to you. But yeah, really good fan zone. I do think the stadium's too big. It's not that they're not trying to create a good atmosphere. The stadium just doesn't hold it. Big problem that for me. Quite disappointing. Don't get me wrong, when Saints, Warrington, people with a bigger travelling support come to town, it's probably better. But last night, it was pretty flat. Anyway, there you go. The Wigan Warriors 30. Catalan Dragons 8 started so well. Steve, mate, you've got some big problems, I think. As for you, Mr. P, just another great day in your coaching life. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to Wigan. We will be back tomorrow with more In the Sheds. It's round number 10. Hey!